sponsored by PlayStation, I played Ghost of Tsushima.
That game is fucking gorgeous.
It is staggeringly, stunningly beautiful, as intended, as designed. They super duper nailed the cinematography, and I saw a fun post where someone was like, "Hey Japan, Japan looking at the West, going, hey, nice Japanese game, nice game about Japan, West," and the West is like, nice game about the West, Japan, and there's Dark Souls and
Nah, man, it's
Tsushima.
Deadly Premonition. Come on.
Sure.
Deadly
Sure.
Premonition's the game about the West.
Yeah, I know, but
Deep South, Zach.
yeah, but it's not a swordsman.
I can
know?
feel it. No, it's a gunman.
Yeah,
The most Western man of all.
Yeah, but it's a knight with a sword and a samurai. Like, what?
Feel that molten sun pouring down on us.
Anyway, I think I don't know about you, but like I went right to big on full weeb mode.
I did not.
Turned them on, and I was pleasantly rewarded with one Akio Otsuka immediately as the voice of your uncle.
I didn't do that because, well, one, when I'm streaming it, everybody complains if they can't just do whatever the fuck they're doing while listening to it in dub mode. But also the lip syncing's all for English. So
yeah, it is. The lip syncing didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. But I did. I brought it up, and like there was people that wanted to be able to minimize, and they were I took a poll. I straight up took a poll and said, hey, my preference is to play the samurai game with Japanese voices on. What do you think? And it was 70-30 in favor of subtitles. So we went with subtitles. But 30 is not insignificant.
So usually, this is when I'd be like, Woolie, you goddamn weeaboo. However, this is kind of a special situation because this is the first game that I can remember playing in which, as you often like to describe, the camera is a weeaboo. The camera is a huge fucking weeaboo. The game is so in love with Japan and Kurosawa films that it is almost absurd at times, and parts of the game's story don't make sense because it loves Japan so much.
Huh, interesting. I saw someone I know jumped online to say like this Japanophile porn is just too much and it's excessive and it's actually ruining the game for me. And based on, I mean, I had one session on it, right? So I played about 3 hours, intro plus the first 2 main mission threads, and then a little bit of traveling. And I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
It is
what they're referring to, because based on what I saw off the jump, it seems to be like mainly homaging Kurosawa, which if you wear that on your sleeve, and it's the name of the black and white mode. I mean, if you from the jump tell everybody what your point is, then like I don't know if like it gets like how much worse it would get, but I find it a weird thing to take issue with. But I don't know what else is coming.
So I can tell you exactly what it is describing. So let's look at, we want to play a Japanese samurai game in which you have a good setting for an open world, right? There's actually, unless you want to do Sengoku, which you could, like everyone literally has done 100 million times, you want to try anything different, you have a couple time periods that you can put your game in. You can have 5 to 10 different time periods in which your samurai is just fucking shit up in Korea and China as a monster, probably bad, not very heroic.
We're not.
Or you have 2 back-to-back Mongolian invasions in 1271 and 1274, right?
Stop me if I strongly doubt the Ghost of Nanking is happening anytime soon.
Right. So, all right, here's a situation where we have an island off the coast of Japan gets invaded by the Mongols. It's like hundreds of thousands of Mongols. There's like 80 samurai. They got fucking wiped out. Great. Like, that battle is like, you know, Jin doesn't survive in reality. They got fucking wiped out. Okay, cool. Great. But here's the problem. That takes place in 1274, right? Or 1273-ish? Okay, here's things that didn't exist in that time period. Katanas. The haiku.
Okay.
The Code of Bushido, which was
I
invented in like the Meiji Restoration in the 1800s and then retroactively applied to samurai
to what
in
they
the
were,
past.
Okay.
Because samurai were just feudal mercenary lords that were total pieces of shit like any other feudal lord anywhere else.
A bunch of them were dicks, yep.
So like the version of historical fiction that we're looking at, it's a Kurosawa movie that's like 400 years early. So it's silly. It's silly. Like, I totally get what they're going for, but like when your uncle in a flashback is like, the samurai must be so honorable. You look your enemy in the face. And it's like, this is a guy who in the real time period he exists in would go test out his katana on peasants in the fields.
Yeah. Not great. Not great when you go back down to the accuracy of the time. But all things considered, Wait, what was the other battle? Because you're saying what the choices would have been?
You have fucking up Korea and China, and you have Mongolian Invasion 1 and Mongolian Invasion 2.
Right, okay.
I believe they're like 3 years apart.
So then, basically, is that the reason why
1274 and 1281. So this is Mongol Invasion 1.
So that's why we're stuck with Nobunaga forever.
Forever.
Because that's the only, like...
Because at least it's Civil War.
And it's inside.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only time it wasn't really woof. Oh, man.
It's like if you go into like Romance of the Three Kingdoms is really popular because a shit ton of Chinese wars in antiquity are just foreign powers coming in and dumping on China. But the Three Kingdoms era is, oh man, look at this hero and this guy, and Cao Cao was there and he was a super smart guy and Lu Bu was a bastard, etc.
So yeah, okay, no, that makes perfect sense. And oh, what's it gonna be? Is that it's Mitsuhide? Oh no! Yeah,
it's really funny when Jin is like, there's these moments of gameplay where like they zoom in on because when you get into duels, it zooms in on your sword, so his thumb flicks up the blade out of the sheath, and then you do that cool duel, and then you kill the guy, and he's like, "Oh, I feel bad for killing this guy because it wasn't honorable." And then you go write a haiku, and I'm like, "None of this is possible. Not a single thing I've done in an hour makes any sense at all."
Okay.
Like, it's pure fantasy weeaboo-ness, but it's like it wants to be historical.
Now, how often does
it's super weird.
How often does that bullshit happen in every Assassin's Creed game? Or
very not as often. That's why they pick a bunch of lame time periods that nobody gives a shit about.
Time periods where it could have happened while no one was looking. And there was sort of
so like one of the things Assassin's Creed loves to do is that back in the day, tons of people just disappeared for no reason. So they just go, "Hey, so and so, hey, here's a great example of how seriously Assassin's Creed takes its bullshit. Remember Assassin's Creed? Did you play Assassin's Creed 2?
Yeah.
So
I dropped off like after Black Flag.
Okay, so in AC2, right? You're trying to kill Borgia for the whole game because he's a motherfucker and killed your family. And then you get to the end, and it's like, shit, he's the Pope for like 15 more years after the end of this game.
Yes.
So you can't kill him.
It's not
so instead you beat him up and leave.
Yeah.
And don't kill him for no reason.
Because you can't.
Because you can't.
That's correct.
This
yeah.
this is the Ghost of Tsushima is the Kurosawa / Tarantino approach to history.
Well, so at the same time though, like you have to like think about 300, right? When the fucking spear gets hit, when the spear gets tossed and like it lands next to Xerxes, and you're like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's Tsushima is the 300 of the invasion of Tsushima.
Okay.
So like that's really funny and hilarious. Like it's not a problem. It's just like constantly silly. Because it really wants to be a Kurosawa movie more than a historical fiction. Like it wants to be Seven Samurai more than anything.
Okay.
And that's why like every plant and tree is just bursting all of its fucking loads of seeds at you every millisecond of the day.
Now, personally, I can accept this like idealized bullshit romanticization of the era, and still press on while laughing at it. You're like,
yeah.
The way it sounded from my friend at least was like it was a deal breaker.
Well, it depends because the game is it like Jin sure loves talking about honor and how much this is honorable and how much that isn't honorable.
Yeah. And to be fair, when you see,
loves it.
And to be fair, like in the first like mission or two, when you start seeing where he got his code from and why, you're like, oh yeah, he's super obsessed because of how, you know, he came to be. And the way the game is marketed, and my hope is that the marketing was accurate, where they're like, but over the course of this game, you will learn to be like, yeah, fuck that shit.
I'm starting to see a little bit of that where I'm at, where he's starting to be like,
being an honorable, noble samurai is not always going to be the answer, and the whole point of the title is you're becoming the ghost of Tsushima, which is you're not a coward, stabber in the back, or a thief, man. You're a ghost, and that's the word that makes it all seem cool.
I would describe the first 3 hours of Jin's story of Jin being like actively stupid, like no protagonist I've seen in a while, in which you have a character going, can we sneak past these dudes? And he's like, no, I will fight every man in the village.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm super down. I disagree with you 100%. The fact that you're in a crouching stealth position, and then the character's like, I'm going to stand up and walk into the open and call you out, and you have a call-out button, and the reward for using the call-out button is the best mechanic in the game. Fuck you, I'm in love with that. I'm super
How far
down.
did you get? Did you...
I did the first mission where you go with your archer buddy, and then I did the other first mission
so you
where
got
you go
past
with the
the
other
MGS3 boss on the bridge moment.
Yes.
Okay, because... Oh, man, can we just talk... So, I don't like Jin very much. And I think the reason why I don't like Jin very much is because I want to join the Mongols, because Khotan Khan is the best. Khotan Khan is the best. He is the best villain introduction I've seen in years.
I mean, I talk about it during the video a bunch, but just as a reminder, like, you go listen to Dan Carlin's Wrath of the Khans podcast about how that army worked, and it is no surprise they got as far as they did, because they were fucking baller. They were, like, unstoppable on horseback with bow and arrows, shooting fucking like fucking 120-pound arrow, like bow and arrow pulls, and like they had the accuracy to hit like the eye of a bird or whatever the fuck it was in that situation. And then they also had a thing going where if they conquer you but you're a badass, you can rise through the ranks on meritocracy and make your way up to being wherever you get in the army of the Khans. It was kind of nuts.
But fuck that. He does Adachi so dirty. It's the best. It's the best. It's my favorite thing I've seen a villain do in years and years and years.
Have you seen American Gangster?
I have.
Remember the
Very
opening
similar.
10 seconds?
It's very similar, yeah.
It's the fucking ancient Japanese version of that.
If
Tossed,
if
you
if
know.
Khoton had like a fucking gun, he would have just shot him. Just
Basically,
bam.
pop, 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 and hard cut to the title.
And
Goes
we
to
get a nice
Tsushima.
little speech that is like, while you were training the blade, I was studying like a nerd.
Yeah,
Dumbass.
so you have the meme, and we know the meme. That was really surprising because it's like, you know, like, and then he straight up has a response to the meme is, and while you were studying the blade, I was studying you, and I was fornicating.
I think
Yeah.
the game's use of like language starts to get really good with him because I mean I'm playing in English, right? But everybody who speaks Japanese speaks English. Everybody who speaks Mongolian speaks Mongolian. And then every now and
Same
then you
thing.
run into Mongolians who speak English, which means they're speaking Japanese, and you're like, "Oh shit,
In the sub,
cool."
in the sub version, it's same thing. And when he's saying "I learned your language," he's speaking Japanese. So
Oh, cool. That's nice.
he'll turn to talk to whoever in Mongolian, and then turn back and speak Japanese in those moments. So like it's a pretty accurate flow. Yeah, I think the other thing as well that's great about our main boy is, at least while the walls are up right now, he has a very clear energy that is like, you know, man, fuck this shit. This sucks. I don't want to be slooping through the dirt. And then you do this stealth kill, and it's the least clean assassin kill you've ever seen. It's such a
worst
garbage
stealth
kill
ever. It takes like
terrible.
a full minute.
Yeah, and he's just on the floor, and you're all it's terrible, messy and grit and just awful. And then later on, you know, you're dealing with like peasants, and like he's talking to them with this kind of like authority of like
I'm
a
Lord
samurai.
Jin Sakai.
Yeah.
Fucking
And he's
peasants.
trying to like, and he has this kind of aura about him. We're just like, bitch, we saw you squirming in the dirt. Get the fuck out of here with that. You know, like, let's not pretend we can't see the scuff marks on your fucking hilt,
Excuse me.
man. You know?
One of the better things about the game's progression is that the stealth kills, like one of your upgrades, is just how fast are your stealth kills.
Mhm.
Because your stealth kills at the beginning are really long. They're crazy long. And then you get an upgrade. Now they're like 1 second. And then the final upgrade's probably instant.
Which again, like, he's trying to kill really fast from the front, but doing it in this like sneaky form where you're not in your proper stance and you're hunched over and afraid of who's gonna see you from behind. Like, yeah, you're not a ninja. You're not that. You're nothing. You're figuring it out. And you know, I'm gonna be a bit predictable and just bring up Vagabond because something that story
That is predictable.
introduces nice and early is like, you know, it's like, hey, you're in a life or death situation, you're about to die. Well, there's your honor, or there's picking up a clump of dirt and throwing it in that guy's eye and fucking killing him because you don't want to die.
Yeah.
Because not dying rules. And like, as you go through this entire story and the philosophy of like this wild beast kind of slowly getting tamed, it happens in a really realistic way. But the most important thing at all times is, yo, you know what's fucking awesome? Not fucking dying. That shit
Not
is
being dead's
tight.
pretty good.
That shit is tight, and it never
I'm a big
stops
fan
being
of not
tight.
being dead.
So I love the fact that yeah, you can philosophize all you want in your perfectly pressed hakama, but at the end of the day, not dying is the most important thing at all times, and you're an idiot if you don't fucking follow that through. You know, it's great.
So I will say, like, I think the story in the game is actually pretty bad.
Okay.
Because usually, I was thinking about how to phrase this. Usually, Wooly, you would at this point go to me, Pat, okay, I know you want to talk about the story, but no spoilers. I don't think there's anything to spoil in this game.
Yeah, I actually didn't. I had nothing to say there. I was not gonna, I wasn't even gonna
that's my
stop
point,
you,
right?
Because I don't even mind. Like, there's nothing to really hear about.
I went and hung out with this person, and we were gonna go avenge their dead family, and then I helped a guy get food back from some band, and it's real stock.
It's gonna go somewhere.
It's all well acted, and it's all fun to do at the time.
It's definitely it's
the
definitely
game has a
somewhere.
real like point A to point B. What's the story about? Get rid of the Mongols.
Right. But like in the meantime, before it gets where it's going, there's a lot of horseback riding around the beautiful Japanese island countryside to do, and there's a lot of Assassin's Creeding to Creed.
I will have how do I put this? This game's story has a big problem that I don't want to talk about on the podcast because I haven't encountered it yet. But it's the problem of basing your game in a historical time period, which is how closely is it going to follow the events of that conflict?
Oh, history spoilers?
History spoilers big time.
Okay, gotcha.
Big time.
Gotcha.
To the point where the war has a very specific, definitive end. And there's a couple ways the game could deal with it. Some would be really bad, and some would be really funny. But I can't see any of them being really good.
I think the best way to treat these types of stories, though, like, is when you deliberately pick a period where we know the predetermined outcome, and you just tell a story inside of that period where, because of the fixed point of history at the end, things can be more powerful knowing where they're going to go, in a way, I think I usually agree with you on that. I would not say it is the case with this one. Interesting. Okay.
This story is built around a historical sequence which ends in a famous anticlimax.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, how are you gonna gamify this hilarious historical anticlimax?
Okay.
Because the war that the game takes place in is really short.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's weird. It's a really bizarre
maybe,
situation.
Maybe like the societal anticlimax can be achieved through a very climactic personal journey. Maybe
I have an idea of what that'll be, and if they do the idea that I want, I'll be like, yay, because it's my idea. That makes it better. I'm also on the lookout for magic, because if you add magic into the story, you can do anything the fuck you want.
Yeah. Or again, Tarantino.
I haven't found any magic yet, but it's always like kind of like, but what if it was magic? Like, oh, the foxes bring you to the shrines.
The animal spirits, and the kitsune, and that's the right now the energy you're getting is like believing in the power of nature and the wind.
Oh, that bird happened to fly me to this important location. Thanks, bird. You really were guiding me all along. The game's pretty.
Shoutouts to exploding red barrels in an ancient Japanese context.
So, that is one of the historical details that is actually dead on. Because that is the first time gunpowder was ever used outside of China.
Even though there so far was only bow and arrows and swords. I haven't encountered anyone using gunpowder.
There are dudes that are throwing like ancient grenades at some point in the enemy list.
Okay.
And you learn learn very early on, like you can have your ghost abilities, which is like a sticky bomb or smoke bomb, which use black powder. The only problem I have with that is that when you encounter that stuff for the first time, Jin doesn't go, "Holy shit, what the fuck is that? How do they have the ability to make things explode?" He just talks about it like he knows. It's like, oh, they have black powder, and it's like that shit is sorcerous at the time.
He's been on the battlefield before. It's not his first rodeo. could have happened off camera. What though? How do you feel? How do you feel?
It
about
actually couldn't have.
It couldn't have.
The Mongols that show up on the beach in the intro.
Yeah.
Are the first people to ever physically carry black powder out of China.
That is the beginning of the conflict.
That is
historically.
That is #1 step ever in history of black powder outside of the Chinese borders.
Wow. Okay.
So the fact that like they're riding into like that firestorm at the very beginning of the game and they're not going, "What the fuck is this?"
All right, listen, your wiki diving might ruin this game a little bit, but but it's okay. We'll
before I played the game the night before, I brushed up on my Japanese history.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. What I don't know, like there's a thing here and just kind of not just in terms of history, but just what do you feel about the fact that like this game, there's something about all of these AAA Sony third-person like flagship games that just has the same energy?
This is the third game that they've made in a row that is like this. They had Horizon and Days Gone and this, and they are all they're all like the identical genre.
And you can, and even though this is all Sucker Punch, right? You can rope in Uncharted. You can rope in Spider-Man even to some degree.
Yeah. Oh, Christ, forgot about Spidey-Man.
Yeah.
That's like, totally the same game also.
It's a fully accurate New York City, man. Like, you know, like there is just a large, clear Sony main flagship AAA energy that like there needs to be at least 2 or so a year, and they're skinned differently and the details differ, but overall there's just a very samey vibe to it. But it's like, if it's interesting enough and directed well enough and it's fun enough, then yeah, that's fine. It's, you know what I mean? It's funny to me that I'm like, oh, I felt this energy before.
Oh yeah, this game feels like a alternate reality Assassin's Creed, like Assassin's Creed 7, but in Japan.
The wall climbing in particular is you start to see the way he leaps from point to point, and you're like,
but that's the way Nathan Drake climbs things actually.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Assassin's Creed climbing animations are very recognizable because they have the same little like head turns and jerks, you know. But yeah, Infamous as well, right? Yeah, there you go. It really is a thing where like, hey, it's not a formula as much as it is a template.
We want a game that's like this.
And it's like, okay,
we like it when our studios make these.
Are you using batarangs and grappling hooks, or are you using a horse? You know, what'd
you name your horse, by the way?
I didn't. I got my deluxe DLC horse available immediately with the special horse armor.
But it doesn't come with a name?
Oh wait, yeah, Kage. I named him Kage.
Oh, you named it Kage. Okay. I named my horse Sora because I thought it was funny to to be able to talk to Sora and go fight the darkness, and that joke maintained its funniness for me up until this morning.
Nah, I went with Shadow Kage. Shoutouts to Kage the Warrior, the
gold horse named Shadow, huh?
I wanted to pick like the black one for Shadowfax, you know, but
Shadowfax is a white horse.
Shadowfax isn't it Shadowfax black?
Shadowfax is a pure blinding white horse.
Well then, white horse named Shadow then.
Nailed it.
They did it first.
You did it, buddy. You're killing it.
Well, I had the big old legendary digital deluxe horse armor, and then I immediately got the digital deluxe special like armor with the mask and the mustache on it type of thing, the ceremonial armor. And it actually they have stat bonuses, right?
Yeah.
But playing through the intro cutscenes where you're supposed to be like pathetic with this
and your armor's supposed to be wrecked.
and you're shining and ceremonial, and like it's too much. It's so intense, and like they take the mask off so that your face can still show up and do the acting, but it's such an immersion ruiner because like your premium fucking costume is just like, yeah, I don't know. It's like Norman Reedus wearing the dumb hat and shades while
all characters give speeches to him,
Cliff
and he goes,
is
I
fucking
don't care.
attacking.
Yeah, I ended up getting to a point in the game where I'm at now where I have like 3 or 4 different armor sets leveled up, and I don't use any of the ones that have any combat abilities. I'm only using the one that vibrates when items are near, because I've gotten like very used to the combat, and it's like I don't care about more melee damage. I don't care about better sneaking. What I care about is these collectibles that I will miss if I don't have this fucking thing on.
That's interesting. I have a very specific thing I want out of this game, and it is obviously, besides the parrying based abilities, I want to do the fucking draw kill, the negative edge slash. I want to do as many of those in a row as possible.
Well, that's not armor based. You just use skill points for that.
Yeah, I'm focusing on that. Oh, okay. You mean the like the crafting material?
Yeah, I mean the armor sets.
Right. Okay. I haven't done any of that yet, so cool.
Yeah, game's gorgeous. Game's a little
fun so far.
What's the word? Story's kind of safe, a little too safe. The game's best feature is the fact that it hates your menus. It hates you using a menu. It doesn't want you to use a menu at any time.
So
it wants you to fucking like stare at the fucking wind and have no HUD for as much as it can possibly get away with.
I hard called the fact that I'm like, this being the big flagship AAA third-person PlayStation game. I like the moment it first booted, I'm like, there is a 100% chance that there will be no title screen. And I was not wrong. There's like,
I'm sure it'll be there at the end at some point, or
and no, not a title drop. Like there was a beautiful title drop. It was fucking stellar over the field as the forest opens up on your horseback moment.
No, he means you start the game up and you select your settings, and then it just you're in the game.
Yeah, because these are the games that are like, we're doing the movie thing, and pressing start and loading and pressing start takes away the movie thing, and we want you to feel that movie thing. Unfortunately, I really do like having the ability to get most of my settings done, but at least they give you the brightness thing, the brightness check, and then they let you set your language and your difficulty, and then like they fucking send you on your way.
There we go.
You know. Yeah.
The game's use of HUD with the wind is incredible. I fucking hate playing Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead, and you're like, look at this incredible landscape that you don't see because you're staring at the mini-map to figure out what turn you need to make.
So some open world games are the kind where you're engrossed in the world, and like it's beautiful and you enjoy it enough to just kind of like take the long way. Sometimes this is one of those games. I felt that way about Breath of the Wild. I just enjoy taking the long road sometimes. And this is going to be a weird one, but I felt that way about the Saboteur.
All right, that is a weird one. You're right.
The black and white Paris Nazi blitzed and color play in that thing was really interesting, and I enjoyed that as well. But yeah, this is gonna be like, okay, there's your objective, cool, ride the other way and just go see what's going on until you get bored of that, and then hit your objective, because at the very least you're gonna like be like blown away with the visuals, you know.
It's just like I have not run into that problem once of, okay, where is this? And then pull up the map and then like zoom in and like zoom in to figure out, is it in the building? Is it out of the building? Because the broad strokes of all the foliage like blowing in one direction is good enough 99% of the time. And then when you get within 50 feet, it just gives a little tiny icon that's like the little wind icon that says, okay,
Foliage?
go over here.
Foliage?
Foliage, yeah.
Foliage?
Foliage. It's pronounced foliage.
I thought it was foliage.
You'd be wrong.
What I also enjoy so far... No, you'd be wrong.
Would I?
Yeah.
Would I?
Seems so.
It's pronounced foliage, Lisa. Foliage.
Right. Everyone whiffed it then. Anyway, the thing that I think is pretty strong so far is you pointed out the villain being excellent. What else is excellent is the so far 3 supporting characters I've been introduced to, all rad. All 3.
Yeah, they're all right.
Sensei, Archer Lady, and Uncle. Killing it. Great. Love that energy.
Have you met Grandma with no chill yet?
No, I don't think so. Unless you're talking about Yuna?
No, I'm talking about Lady Adachi.
No.
Or Masakato, I think her first name is. She has no chill.
Nice.
She is... She's the team. She's the member of the team that you look at and you'll go, you'll be cool if I leave you alone for a minute, right? And she goes, yeah, dude, it'll be cool. And you come back and everyone's dead. And you're like, I thought you said you'd be cool.
Nice. Nice, nice. Okay.
You told me you would be cool. Things were not cool.
Dude, games like this, like, they need to thrive on the people you'll be talking to for the next 40 hours being really interesting or fun to talk to. Yeah. You know, like it's mandatory, right? I think about everyone. Well, one, think about Peter, right? Then think about Parker in the PS4 game.
Okay, thank you. I thought of Peter Griffin first.
Yeah, no. And then think about like most of the people that you're talking to for that game on a regular basis, and you're like, oh yeah, these are some interesting relationships. These are fun. I like this. You want to see more of those. Like it needs to be strong. And like I feel like everyone we've been introduced to so far is kind of similar in that it's like I like the cut of all of your jibs. Every jib has had a good cut.
So far, I've enjoyed pretty much everybody except for Jin. I think he's my least favorite character in the game by far.
I enjoy him as the fuck up he is. I like his bumble so far, and I want to see where that bumble step goes. Can we turn that bumble into a bumbling flash step?
Like you meet up with a guy who's like an old friend of his, that's like leader of the Straw Hats, like, you know, the dudes with cool hats. And he's just a more likable Jin. He is almost the same guy. He looks really similar. He's just a little bit.
The guy, was he locked up? The guy you free?
No,
okay.
The guy you free, he tells you to go meet this dude. Everybody I've ran into, including a bunch of like the one-off no-name bandits, seems like more interesting than Jin. Like every boss fight I've had against a unique duelable character has been more interesting than Jin, which is fucking crazy. Jin's just like a player avatar to the fucking maximum.
So I was kind of hoping that we would be playing as a Toshiro Mifune stand-in. Doesn't seem likely. Not happening. I'm hoping we can get some sort of side character with that energy. And I'm fully anticipating a cool samurai with a little boy near him at some point, just so we can throw all the references in together.
Mm-hmm.
He's the main character of Seven Samurai, and he's the brash one. He's the dude that's just kind of fucking, you know, impulsive. He's the Mugen. He's got that big Mugen energy, you know. And like he's the fucking best part of that movie, you know. And I want that full reference in there, or at the very least, that fucking, you know, that aura, Yojimbo, all of that.
Like, I'll take some generic side quests as an example with Jin, where old lady is like, bandits stole my food, and he goes, that's terrible. Where are these bandits? They're over there. Don't kill them, though. He's like, I'll try my best. Then you go, and you run into the bandits, and they're eating her food, and you fucking wipe them out, like, in a second. Kill the shit out of them. He goes, now they have paid for what they have done, these dirty bandits. You return the food, and the lady's like, oh, I haven't eaten in forever. Oh, thank God you stole this food from the bandits. And he goes, what? This wasn't your food? And she goes, no, yeah, I lied. And he goes, I will not give you the food now because you lied to me. I would have helped you. Shame on you. And she goes, I'm sorry. And he goes, oh. And that's the end of the quest. That's that, like, it's like Jin had
Ghosts.
no meaningful or interesting interaction with that at all. He was kind of like a fucking board of drywall.
Love it. Love it. He got played. The fool got played. I love it. Become the ghost. Yeah.
And it's just like, darn.
Yeah, so
you didn't have to kill the bandits? Yeah, whatever. They were bandits. They were gonna die one way or the other. I was
definitely also like having memories of Neo with the quick switching over. Yeah, and archery, you know.
Also having memories of DMC Devil May Cry with the stance switching. There's a real, like, red enemy, blue enemy, red stance, blue stance thing going on.
Well, they show you on the fucking, like, unlocks, like, swordsmen use stone stance, right? This uses that. This uses that. Every enemy has their...
It is annoying when you're in, like, huge groups of enemies and there's, like, every different enemy type and you're switching between each one.
It would be less annoying if there was a hard lock-on.
Which I can't believe the game doesn't have.
The weirdest thing, and probably the biggest fault so far, is the complete lack of a hard lock-on.
Or soft lock-on.
You do have an auto lock-on where like it orients you towards somebody, and if you don't tap, if you're neutral on the stick, you'll swing towards them. But if you're holding any other direction or whatever the case is, the camera will sometimes not center properly, and like the person you're staring at and sort of focused on will not be dead center. They'll be like back up against the wall towards the camera. And I've had like 2 or 3 moments of that I'm like,
I think what's even weirder than that is that nothing in the game ever has any transparency. So when you go into a tent, you have a second where you're completely blind. Because the door flap just goes right over the top of the camera.
Yeah.
And every single enemy I have ever found inside a tent is looking at something to the side, because I guess they know that would be fucked up to blow your stealth on something you can't see. But I've had situations where like trees like just block my whole screen when I'm like doing a duel or something like that.
Yeah, it's just very weird that because like, and when you get into a group fight, it still is going into Ass Creed Batman combat, you know, where tilt towards this character, this enemy, and you'll like fly in that direction. and you know most assuredly like swing and hit them, but you just don't have the ability to be like R3, stick to this guy, you know, cycle to this guy next, cycle to that guy next, and you know, it's I don't think it's like a function of difficulty as much as it is just like I prefer if we had precision on those things, you know. I wonder why they didn't do it.
I have no idea. Overall, game seems really solid. I've been playing a lot of it. It's very nice. It's very relaxing.
How far are you?
I'd say like 10 hours. I've filled out about half of the bottom of the map. Which one of the weirder things in the game is that you'll have a story, and you met him, the archer guy, right? Ishikawa? And the story will be, you got to get Ishikawa to help you take down the castle, right? And the other one's like, you got to get Yuna's brother to make you a thing, and you got to get the Straw Hat Ronin to help assault the thing, right? And then you do that character story, and they go, okay, I'll help you. I got my own shit to deal with still. But when you want to go do that main mission, I'll help you. The Ishikawa one's really crazy because you do that story, and it's like 1 of 9 quests complete. And you can just not do the remaining 8.
And he's still on board?
Yeah, because the yellow marked quests are the ones that matter for your MSQ, your main quest. Okay. And it's just like, really? That's a lot of optional quests that you just don't have to do at all.
I mean, the way it plays out, at the very least in that first one, is just kind of like, oh man, damn, so that girl's gone, huh? Yeah, she's super badass, but oh well. Help me? Help you? It's like, I guess. You know?
I guess.
And you kind of, like, the rescue mission is a botch, so what are you gonna what, you know?
Do you promise to help me? Yes, I promise that when you go to do that mission, I'll be an NPC that will do the prescribed thing at that one door at that one time.
Right.
I promise.
It also, like, the I also got the big ol' Chivo kit thing with the copy, and there's one, like, each of there's 3 achievements that all have an associated physical item to get, and I got one of them so far, and it's like an actual iron cast sword guard. So it's pretty cool. Like, I thought that was a nice touch that came with that version. I could use it to replace my existing sword guard.
That's who Tomoe is. Okay. Sorry, yeah. The girl is totally a historical figure.
Oh, rad. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, main guy actually straight up says, like, he says, like, I'm the son of Kublai, I think.
Yeah. Khoten is totally a person.
Yeah. So he's just like, hey, look at it's me. You can point me out.
I'm Kublai Khan's cousin.
You can point me
Genghis
out
Khan's
on the family chart.
Grandson.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll see where that goes.
That game, I bet that game remains incredibly and almost annoyingly consistent the whole way through in its quality. I bet that game has no peaks and or valleys.
Probably. And I
because it hasn't in all the time that I played it. It has been super consistent.
I'm also assuming that like, there's going to be some point where, because, you know, this is a real event that took place, and this was an invasion, and they were, like, fighting back the Mongol army. I'm waiting for the, like, okay, so to us, the invaders are monsters. We got to kill them all. Fuck these guys. And I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop where there's a, like, let's go into their side of the culture to see what was happening here for a moment and realize that history is complex.
No, at that time in history, the Mongols were like, Genghis Khan is the baddest motherfucking dude to ever live. We're going to invade everyone.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that's it.
No,
That's their motivation.
what I mean is that like with the historical accuracy and the Japanophilia going on, one would expect that there's like, well, we're going to also have some super historical accuracy for the Mongolian army as well.
So that's the weirdest thing. I have learned more in this game about historical Mongolians than I have about Japan because all the collectibles are about the Mongolians.
Okay, yeah. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
All the collectibles are like, did you know that the Mongolians are actually a livestock-based society because they're primarily nomadic? So all of their drink and food are based off of milk and meat, like 99% of it. So their alcohol is a form of milk. And apparently it's fucking terrible, which is why they like sake so much.
Also, here's this weird, like, paste tofu thing that they ate for rations all the time. Also, they fucking loved horses. Holy shit, horses ruled. And, you know, you just kind of, yeah, okay. Good. All right, cool, cool. That's what's up. But, like, they are unquestionably the superpower expanding hypervillains of the period of time, for sure.
Oh, totally.
I just mean in terms of like research and accuracy, you know?
It's fun because back in the day, you could just write an invading force as just like, why are they invading? The reason why the Mongols invaded Japan is because they saw Japan on a map and they said, fuck those dudes, I want that.
Basically, yeah.
And that was that.
They started walking in every direction and went, hey, submit or die, you know? And also the steppe was their home base, their home turf advantage. Exactly. And if you were on it, like, yeah, you're done.
And then you have this moment where Jin's fighting Khan at the end, and he's like, I hope your bitch empire survives your death. And he's like, this empire will last forever. It will totally not crumble into dirt the instant this lineage dies.
The sun will never set on it's nighttime. It's nighttime. It's gone. It's gone.
Fucking
shit.
Oops.
Yeah. Don't get so drunk, idiot. Yeah. Well, anyway, I need to take that fucking legendary armor off just because I can't stare at these cutscenes like this. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It reminds me of a less ridiculous version of when you, like, the pre-order weapon is you get the starter gun with better stats and it's solid gold. And it's like
100%.
This looks terrible.
Remember when Overwatch was like, hey, your big reward for placing high in ranked is to get a gold weapon? And it's like, that looks horrible.
Gears of War was the one that always got me bad, where it's like the gun that came with like the super deluxe expensive was like a solid gold like Nasher shotgun. And it's like, I can't think of any game where the setting of having a solid gold gun was more out of place.
It
looks so terrible and tacky.
Like, yeah. I mean, whatchamacallit, Apex has like a fuck ton of skins for each weapon. So at the very least, you have like a million alternatives, including some wacky ass like, hey, look, it's a Game Boy shotgun or whatever. But
cool.
You know, but like, yeah, just this like, oh, look, it's all shiny gold. Like, I'm like, fuck, I hate that in everything. Looks terrible.